Hi everyone, so I thought I would film a little video of me painting this week's weekly drawing prompt, which is the basket of oranges, which is a photo I took in Mallorca a few years ago, and the challenge was limited colour palette. So I went for orange and blue, which I think a lot of you did. So the materials list is going to be nice and easy for this video because I'm really using very little. So I've got 3 tubes of paint there, and then I'm sketching in pencil. So I'm sketching using a Caran d'Ache Supracolor pencil in Venetian red, which is a lovely soft muted warm red. I use this a lot. So yeah, just sketching and getting the composition right at the moment. And when I'm sketching, I'm always looking for reference points, so things like, is the handle of the watering can in front of the basket, and can I see a gap between where the basket meets the branch, or does, can I see a bit of the tree behind, or is the basket kind of flat against the branch, and just looking for little bits of negative space or where 2 objects overlap, just to help me get the general composition right. Like my sketches aren't always super accurate, but looking for landmarks where things overlap, or where you've got bits of negative space where objects interact, can help it all hang together, so you don't kind of get into it and then realise that you've totally run out of room and there's no room for the watering cans or something. So 2 colours. I'm going fairly strict with this because I'm just going for orange and blue, but I am mixing them. But I haven't allowed myself to use any white because that would actually really increase the colour mixing capabilities, but no white, and I'm not allowed to vary the proportions of the orange. So I've pre-made the orange. I can't add more yellow or more red, which again would really increase my colour mixing options. But I'm pushing myself, this is a challenge. So I have an orange which is made of mid-yellow and scarlet red. These are Arteza. You could find similar colours from any brand of Bosch or any watercolours. And then ultramarine blue. So I've made the orange first and squeezed out a bit of the ultramarine blue. And then I'm just having a go making some different colour mixes. So I've got some muted greens, I've got some browns. I'm just kind of playing at this point, seeing what different colours I can make. So I've got a brown, so I'm going to start by putting the tree in first with a dark brown, and I'm using a size 4 brush from ProArt, Proline, and I'm painting in my Odd Orange sketchbook, which I'm really liking at the moment. So I'm just following my sketch and putting in the branches, some thicker branches and thinner ones, just varying the pressure with my paintbrush to get the different thicknesses. And I'm holding the brush really upright because I don't want the branches to be looking too perfect. I want them to be quite natural and sort of flowing and sinuous and not too perfect. So by holding the brush quite upright and holding it quite far up the handle, it takes away a little bit of the control, which then makes it feel more natural. And then in contrast, I'm now painting the basket, so I need much more control for doing these little brush strokes. So I am actually holding the brush right down the end, or the metal part. So I'm using kind of the same brown, maybe slightly lighter, to paint the basket, just looking at kind of the weave of the basket. And then, of course, the oranges. I'm going to try and bring a bit of variety in here by adding more water to some oranges than other. And next I'm using some of the green that I've mixed up, so this is a really dark muted green. I'm going to put a little bit more blue in it just to make it more greeny, less brown. And I'm looking at where the darkest parts of the image are. So I find when you're using a really limited colour palette like this, it forces you to look more at the tonal values. So you look at different things rather than thinking tree is green. Leaves are green, tree is brown, oranges are orange. You look for things like where are there leaves in shadow, where are there leaves that are in the light. So you start noticing different things in the picture. And I'm just painting some loose leaves that are kind of hanging down separately, so they're not sort of part of this main canopy of leaves. And sort of varying the tone and also varying the warmth of the green. So some darker bluey green and then some lighter, more yellowy green. And I'm doing this all with the same brush. I really love a size 4 brush because it is so versatile. I'm just putting the little knife handles in now, using that brown I mixed earlier. At this point I'm trying to mix a grey for the watering cans, but I can't because the orange mix I've made is very heavy on the yellow. So every time I add blue to it, I just get green. I can't get grey. If I added more red to the mix, it would balance it out and I would get a grey. But the rules I've set for myself are that I'm not going to change the original orange mix. So I can't make grey. So I've got to think about how I'm going to paint the watering cans. So I'm going to go for making them cool instead. So I'm using the blue with just a little bit of the orange in, and then I've watered the paint right down. So then it's much lighter than some of the other areas in the painting. And I'm using the same colour just to put a little bit of shadow in on the tablecloth. One of the good things about using a very limited colour palette like this is it does force you to be creative. Like, I can't use grey, but what colour could I use so that people will still understand that these are metal watering cans? So just putting in the details on the tablecloth using the pure ultramarine blue. I'm just trying to work out where the pattern is kind of as it goes behind the watering cans. I probably haven't got this bit completely right. Well, I know I haven't got it completely right, but hopefully it feels like it makes sense when you look at the image, which is the main thing. You know, when you're doing a painting like this, chances are no one's going to be looking at the reference image and comparing it. So, yeah, it's just more about if it feels like it makes sense to the viewer, if it makes sense as a painting. I'm putting some shadow on the trees using some watered down ultramarine blue. And it just adds a bit of contrast and definition. And now I'm mixing a very dark kind of muted blue and putting in the details on the watering cans, so kind of filling in that little dark patch where you put the water in, and then doing a little bit of line work to add some definition. And again, this is all the same brush. I do have smaller brushes, but I don't actually use them that often, just because I find a size 4 so versatile. You can get nice fine lines from it. I'm just putting some darker leaves on the tree. And just adjusting the tree branch. You don't need to get it all right first time. Often the more you look at it, the more you kind of see things how they actually are. Sometimes you get to the end of the painting and go, oh my goodness, I've completely missed that out, or I've got something in completely the wrong place. And just bringing the green in a little bit closer to the oranges. And then putting a bit of shadow on the oranges, so with a more muted orange. And and then using some watered down orangey brown to put a bit of shadow on the basket. And then a little bit of shadow on the watering cans, and it's funny that little bit of shadow just brings them to life and adds some definition, and a little bit of shadow under the knives as well. Just adding all the little finishing touches at this point, so putting in darker bits of shadow to add more contrast and definition. It's kind of done at this point, and then I decide to put some blue leaves in to show that kind of really in shadow. So you'll have to let me know what you think. Do the blue leaves make it pop, or do they ruin it? Because I'm really not sure. I think maybe I should have left it, and putting leaves in blue is maybe a bit much, but let me know what you think. But there you go, that is how I painted that piece using a very, very limited colour palette, just one brush, and in less than 20 minutes. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed doing this weekly drawing challenge if you took part. I personally learned a lot from it. I really loved the colour palette that I created with the blue and the orange, and I went on and used these colour mixes in some more paintings, which is what I love about traditional gouache that's rewettable. So I just used what was left on the palette and added white to it and did some more paintings. So I loved this colour mix. Yeah, I find it really fun, and it's a nice reminder that you don't need a lot of materials to capture a scene. Doing something like this would be perfect if you were painting on location. If you were sitting in Mallorca on holiday at a cafe looking at a beautiful scene, maybe you just have 3 primary colours with you and white and one brush and one sketchbook, and you can paint something like this. So it's a nice reminder of how versatile limited materials can be. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed this weekly challenge.